This is a kabocha squash, which is also called a Japanese pumpkin. It's one of my favorite starches, and today I'm going to show you how to use it in a rich and creamy soup. To prepare the squash, remove the stem and cut the kabocha in half. For starters, please be extra careful whenever you're cutting a large winter squash. You want to make sure you have a large, very sharp knife and a stable surface. If you'd like, you can also nuke this whole thing in the microwave for 30 seconds or so, which will soften it enough that makes it much easier to cut. Just be sure to either remove the stem first or stab it a few times to give it some air holes to make sure it doesn't explode. Scoop out all the seeds. You can save these for roasting if you'd like. Chop the kabocha into large chunks. They don't need to be perfect since they'll be blended later. I'm not peeling my kabocha squash. I usually don't peel it. The skin is edible and I usually keep it on for extra nutrients and fiber. You can certainly peel it if you'd like, but since this is a blended soup, it doesn't contribute to the texture at all, so I like to just get the extra benefits. No need to waste it. We're going to set the chopped squash aside and prepare the crispy bacon topping. Bring a large pot or Dutch oven to medium-high heat. I'm going to just use kitchen shears to cut up the bacon directly into the pot and cook that until it reaches your desired doneness. I like it to be a bit crunchy because I think it's a really nice textural contrast in the finished soup. Remove the bacon from the pot and set it aside. Make sure you leave a few teaspoons of bacon grease behind. We're going to add the chopped kabocha squash to the pot, stir it a bit to coat it with the bacon grease, and then add about 3 cups of your favorite broth. Here I've got some homemade chicken bone broth, which is obviously very rich in gelatin, as you can tell by how thick it is and how hard it is to get out of this jar. Next, add 1 to 2 teaspoons of salt. This will depend on how salty your bacon is and how salty you like your soup. I would just start with 1 teaspoon because you can always add more later, but you can't take it away. Stir this all together, then cover and simmer for about 20 minutes. Remove the lid and check for doneness. A fork should easily go through the kabocha. When the squash is ready, you can turn off the heat and add the creamy coconut milk. I'm using about 3/4 of a cup of creamy canned coconut milk here. Then I'm going to blend it all together using an immersion blender. The immersion blender saves on dishes, which is great, but you can of course use a stand blender if that's all you have. Divide it amongst your serving bowls and top it with the crispy bacon. I'm also topping mine with some microgreens here, but you can use fresh herbs if you'd prefer. I really love how just creamy and flavorful this soup is. I love the starchy sweetness of kabocha squash. Again, I love the texture of the bacon. You can also blend some of the bacon into the soup as well. I do that sometimes, especially if I have extra bacon. You get the majority of the creaminess from the coconut milk that we added, but you're not going to get any coconut flavor, and the bacon really helps to kind of elevate the whole thing with that umami saltiness. It's so good. All right, that's it. Thanks as always for being here, and I'll see you in the next video. We're going to take 4 strips of bacon. Bring crispy bread. Oh my God.